I'd like to talk to you about today is a story of Prairie Crossing. All of you know that this is a tough time and has been for a while to acquire and control the resources that we all need for land protection, for stewardship, for constituency building. For the past 17 years, I've been involved in a project, in some ways the early precursor of social investment, where what we've tried to do is to harness a triple bottom line. A project where we protect open space, enhance the stewardship of that open space. We create a constituency, a community that is engaged, and at the same time we make some money because we feel that that's a critical piece of this game. My personal story began about 17 years ago when lying in bed early on a Saturday morning, I got a phone call that said, "Hello, Mike Sands? I'm George Rainey. You don't know me, but I'm a developer and I want to save open land and farmland." And I realized that I needed many more cups of coffee to be able to process that. In the past years, there have been a number of stories about Prairie Crossing. And I could tell you stories about beautiful homes, incredible architecture, stories about innovative site design that include new ways to place housing such that it's adjacent to open space, such that it engages you in that larger area, but also perhaps provides an environment that creates community, that allows places for people to play, for people to meet, whether it be trails, village greens, schoolyards, playgrounds. Maybe it's a beach in an area that frankly is our stormwater detention basin. When I go to most development conferences and I ask the developers to raise their hands and ask them how many of them count their stormwater detention basin front and center as an amenity, not many raise their hands. And yet at Prairie Crossing, because of the native landscaping and the overall site design, we've been able to do that where we have multiple uses for any number of areas. Those common areas, 70% of the site is protected open space. Those common areas in large part are replanted, recreated prairies, wetlands, aquatic ecosystems, some community gardens, some agriculture. But for the most part, the critical piece has been that they've been able to be managed in a way funded by the homeowner association, managed by the homeowner association with professional management plans, science-based management plans with ongoing data collection and use over time. Those are all incredible stories. We've used fire. We've engaged people in lots of different ways. All of those stories, and this is a point learned last night, that's not the story I want to tell you today, okay? The story I want to talk about today is the impact of using a community like this, a for-profit entity that engages people, brings people in, sells people houses, and then converts those people from home buyers to people who care about the environment and express that concern of the environment in many different ways, whether it be on a farm, on our ag land, or whether it be in the natural areas. The progress that we've made in that conversion, starting many times with where people are with their own house, in their own backyard, looking at why the neighbor's yard with native ecosystems attracts more butterflies, more birds than their backyard with a turf lawn, and starting to process that and giving them the opportunity to get engaged in that process has been an incredibly powerful tool. People start either working on farms, start working with connecting to recreation, to a larger area around them. The Liberty Prairie Reserve, which is an area adjacent to us, which frankly is got a name, it's got a line drawn around it, and frankly it has no other reality other than that. There's no jurisdiction other than a self-identified area of about 5,800 acres. People become engaged. You start with school kids. I can tell you that nothing lights up the eyes of a kid faster than handing them a drip torch. Today, I know of at least 3 community members that I handed them a drip torch as a kid 17 years ago. And they're now in the final stages of postgraduate education, postgraduate research in some field of the natural resource management in Montana, Idaho, and Latin America. That's an incredibly personal feeling of pride that you have. I'm now engaged in working in the same thing with people in agriculture, and the beauty of being able to move that group of people, create a group that in fact advocates for the land, that is the basis of the Liberty Prairie Conservancy that started 17 years ago with members of the Prairie Crossing community and others, now is a national land trust that is protected immediately adjacent to us, some 3,000 plus acres of 5,800 acres total. That's our story, and I think it's a great one for leverage. Thank you.